Next, we've got Mia just sent me this one, one of our listeners on BitChute, and this is an interesting video. I'm not gonna. It's 17 minutes long, so I'm just gonna play about the first three or 4 minutes. Is really good stuff, interesting stuff. If you guys want to do your own sort of confirmations about this, obviously there's more you can research into it. But the information that they're putting across, I found to be fairly persuasive and interesting, given the massive wildfires that have been going on in, once again, all the Western countries that the World Economic Forum has infiltrated. It's just fascinating. So geoengineeringwatch.org put this video together. This is coming from We the People's Rumble channel.
Truly shocking. Forest fire is a military weapon. Final report, June 1970. Yet more insanity from the military-industrial complex. This formally classified U.S. military report provides in-depth detail on the methods the military uses to prepare vast swaths of forests for extremely intense wildfire incinerations. The United States Forest Service provided much of the data for the U.S. military. Question, is that really the job description for the Forest Service, to instruct the U.S. military on how to, quote, set the stage for maximum intensity wildfire incinerations by months-long atmospheric spraying of desiccants and defoliants? Are U.S. citizens and populations around the world now in the same category as the Viet Cong were during the U.S. invasion of Vietnam? Geoengineeringwatch.org has desperately tried to sound the alarm on this exact scenario for a decade and a half. Even more disturbing about this report is the fact that it includes specific data that outlines the best engineered wildfire incineration timing for various regions in the U.S. and other nations that are thought to be U.S. allies. One of the regions in the U.S. that is specifically covered in this report is Mount Shasta, California, my backyard. Top fire agency officials have repeatedly acknowledged the now unprecedented behavior of wildfires.
Every year is worse than the last. Why? All official sources refuse to or are unable to offer any valid explanation for the increasingly catastrophic fires and fire behavior. Why not?
Every single person that I've talked to so far has made the mention that I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. It's burning differently. It's burning more aggressive than it has in years past. And I know we say that every year, but it's unprecedented. It's burning in every direction all at the same time.
Other cities and regions that are rated for their incineration potential in this report include Washington, D.C., Florida, New Mexico, New York, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, Minnesota, and in the formerly Golden State of California, Los Angeles, Mount Wilson, Blue Canyon, and, as mentioned a moment ago, in my neck of the woods, Mount Shasta, California. Other countries rated for their incineration potential include Greece, Turkey, France, Spain, all of which are countries that have recently been hit with catastrophic wildfires. Just a coincidence? You decide. The United States military machine has always treated the environment with unimaginable contempt. What's business as usual for the military-industrial complex? Blowing up pristine tropical islands to test nuclear bombs, detonating nuclear bombs in the atmosphere, on civilian cities, using radioactive depleted uranium munitions all over the Middle East, in the Balkans, toxic water supplies on military bases for our own troops to consume, highly toxic burn pits next to military bases which contaminated countless military personnel and civilian populations. The list goes on and on and on. For the record, the U.S. military is the largest single-source polluter on the planet. Not an opinion, a statistical fact. Would the U.S. military use weather as a weapon? Short answer, yes. But would the U.S. military participate in the toxic spraying of forest lands in our own country in order to set the stage for extreme wildfire incinerations? Why would they, many ask? Let's start with this. The U.S. military has for decades stated on the record that the rapidly heating climate poses the greatest U.S. national security threat of all. Now consider this puzzle piece. Are U.S. military climate intervention operations being used to facilitate catastrophic forest incinerations in the insane attempt to provide temporary and highly toxic surface cooling by attempting to mimic the temporary cooling effect of large volcanic eruptions, which the latest science data confirms can only destroy what's left of the climate system. The excess atmospheric particles actually trap more overall heat than they deflect, along with completely derailing the hydrological cycle and destroying the ozone layer.
Okay, so I'll pause it there. Yeah, there's so much more to this video. But one of the things that I really noticed is that one of the toxic chemicals that they showed was strontium, like was way up in the Mount Shasta area, along with aluminum and barium, was it?
I believe so.
Yeah, so we looked up why they might be using strontium, and it says, well, you just look it straight up. Specific hazards arising from the material. It reacts readily with water, releasing flammable hydrogen gas, and may emit toxic fumes under fire conditions. So if
That sounds perfect.
yeah, so it changes a regular burning forest fire from just, like campfire wood to now they're emitting toxic fumes. Well, if you're trying to decrease the population and poison people, then you spray everything with strontium and light it on fire, right?
Seems like one way, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that's why this is so fascinating, and there's tons of people talking about this stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of stuff to look into and actually discover what the heck's going on. But, I mean, it seems to me like there's massive teams of arsonists in every Western country.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've seen drones that were throwing fire. So, I mean, it could just be people that are paid. It could be drone. I mean, it could be all of the above, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, but it's all worth looking into, and that's why everyone's looking into it, right?
Yeah, and sometimes it's just there's like an economic benefit to starting forest fires. Like I know some places that I've been to have a huge amount of unemployed people, but they're also firefighters. Like in the summer, they work as firefighters, but if there's no fires, they don't get paid. So essentially, there's like an economic benefit to people going out and starting fires, so they have something to go fight and get paid like very large government wages, right? And then they'll, so it can be
all things to consider, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, it can be all these things, right?